In the remote jungles of Papua New Guinea, an international team of scientists and filmmakers has been searching for rare and endangered creatures.
We can find something really, really spectacular inside here. I guess that's the hope.
2 weeks in, and they've made an impressive start.
What an extraordinary looking fish.
They found the weird.
I have no idea what that will become.
The wonderful.
Now you can really see how tiny it is, like compared to your thumb.
And discovered animals unknown to science.
I'll bet you any money that wasp right there that's walking along that leaf is a new species. Bet you any money.
They've hunted high and low. Now Steve Backshall and a team of cavers are pushing deep into a cave. One of the few places on Earth where no one has been before.
I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
This is extraordinary!
Of an extinct volcano, Mount Basavi. Further east, a smaller team is on the island of New Britain. They're exploring an underground river cave, mapping it as they go.
This is one of the most remote, inaccessible places on the planet, and there genuinely are dark corners of Papua New Guinea that no human being has ever been to before. This place is absolutely ripe for exploration.
It's risky. Just to get in means abseiling 80 meters to the cave entrance. Steve Backshall is the expedition climber, caver, and naturalist.
Oh, this is unbelievable! What an unbelievable amount of water!
Welcome to Guinea River Cave.
Oh!
He's joined the Anglo-French team who first discovered this cave. The locals call it Mageni. They're led by pioneering British caver Dave Nixon, known as Moose.
Oh, it makes you feel so alive.
Their aim is to press further into this uncharted cave and map passages never seen before by man.
John Paul, this joint is developed on 50 degrees, 230, 50, 230.
What fires them is the hope of finding a new undiscovered route right through the mountain. West, in the shadow of Mount Basavi, lies the base camp. A cluster of makeshift huts is home to the wildlife filmmakers, the expedition medic, expert trackers, cooks, and at its heart, the scientists. Leading them is Dr. George McGavin.
I'm heading up a team of scientists, each experts in their own field. Our aim is to document what animals live in and around this giant extinct volcano, and also to search for any new species, and there must be hundreds.
Job is running the jungle lab.
This is an absolute monster.
His team has already discovered 17 new species and catalogued hundreds of other animals.
Something there, hang on.
This one's cover has just been blown by wildlife cameraman Gordon Buchanan.
Oh, do you know what that is? It's a beautiful fruit dove. That's what it's called. That's not my name for it. I love all the names of, especially the birds in Papua New Guinea. You get all these magnificent bird of paradise, magnificent rifle bird, the superb fruit dove, the beautiful fruit dove. They're all very descriptive. Unbelievably camouflaged sitting there. Such a good find.
It's one of the jungle's more unassuming characters. But Gordon has his sights set on a far more flamboyant bird.
Personally, I want to find birds of paradise. They are the most iconic bird family on the planet. They have fascinated every ornithologist, every naturalist since they were first discovered 400 years ago. I'm no different.
Gordon's mission is to record one of the most extraordinary rituals in nature, the mating display of the bird of paradise. Underground, Steve and the caving team are battling against the Whitewater River. Steve is the team's naturalist. Even in a cave, some creatures still survive.
These cave crickets are real specialists in this kind of environment. They have tiny little eyes, but really almost all of their senses are in these gigantic antennae. Look at that. I mean, that is probably 6 times the length of the body. They're tactile. They tap around in front of it in the cave, just feeling its way, and also pick up chemical signals. So it works like a nose, like eyes, and also a bit like a blind man's white stick as well. I think this one here is a female, possibly the least pretty-looking girl in the world.
In total darkness, looks are irrelevant. Above ground, appearances can be everything. Bird expert Jack Dumbacher's found a king bird of paradise.
I would like to take a blood sample. So there's a small vein that runs right under the arm here. We can get the DNA from the blood, and then we can use that for genetic studies. And we can also use it to test whether or not the birds are carrying malaria or other blood diseases. I'm missing the vein here.
Keeping a record of all the animals is expedition photographer Ulla Lohmann.
I've never seen colors like that. I mean, me being a photographer, I love colors, and especially when the light is just breaking into its feathers, it's just magnificent.
All these colors are to impress the female, and their mating display, they flash all these colors. They have a special dance that they do. And the female's very drab, so she doesn't have any of these specialized colors. Just the male has these.
Completing the look are elaborate tail wires that play a big part in his courtship display. It's an important find, proof that birds of paradise live in this patch of forest.
What have you got, Jack?
Good to see you, Gordon. I caught
up in that net.
Let me just get my hand down in there so that he can't get away.
Oh, a king! Oh, you beauty! Oh, my goodness me! They are quite incredible. All the birds of paradise are almost beyond belief.
Yeah. There we go.
Jack releases it just where it was found.
Well, it looks like he's happiest on a vertical perch.
Birds of paradise look stunning, but even more impressive is their courtship dance. Catching this on camera will draw Gordon deep into the jungle. These forests are now under threat. There's big money to be made from tropical timber.
This forest giant's been growing here for between 100 and 150 years. The value of this tree when it's cut down to the landowner, the man who owns this tree, is only about £8. When it's prepared and shipped out as timber, in the UK it'll fetch £1,000 or more. Somebody is making a great deal of cash, and it's not the people who own this tree.
Papua New Guinea's forests are peppered with hundreds of remote tribes. It's those tribes, and not the government, who own the land and the trees. Tribal elders have a difficult decision to make. Keep their forests, or sell the trees to the loggers.
If we keep forests like this intact, we will reduce our chances of suffering the worst effects of global climate change, and we'll save between 60 and 80% of all the world's species. For me, it's a no-brainer.
In the cave, progress is slow and exhausting. They need to stop and refuel. The French have brought cheese, and the Brits, baked beans.
Oh, please tell me you're not eating cold baked beans.
What's the matter with you, man?
Oh, you're all wrong. I'll have some of that, that's fine.
The French.
No, the cheese is good, the cheese is good. Oh, no! Oh, that absolutely turns my stomach.
Smell what?
I don't want to... This is actually pretty good for us. I mean, we've really just been having a chocolate bar for lunch most days. To actually stop and have cheese and crackers is... It's lottery!
Hey, you don't know your bone, lad.
From base camp, 2 boats head upstream. Gordon's first stop on his search for birds of paradise is a remote village where the feathers are used for costume. Also on their way are George and expedition medic Jane Stevenson. The boat's engines disturb a colony of bats roosting in the treetops.
This is...
Fogamayu village is dominated by the extinct volcano Mount Bosavi. Contact with outsiders is rare.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable welcome. You just sort of quite overwhelmed when you arrive somewhere. Big man in the village, this man.
He's the chief.
I see.
Chief leader for Fogamayu. His name is Chief Ayapo.
These villagers know more than anyone about birds of paradise and where they display.
Thank you. Okay.
It's a very poor village of just 500 people. Medicines are in short supply, and there's been a severe outbreak of malaria.
Here in this particular village, one of the biggest problems is access. They can't get out to hospitals, they can't get out to clinics, they can't get medicines brought in, and everything is so expensive for them that health has actually had to take a kind of a back seat, really, to just pure survival.
While Jane sets up a makeshift clinic, George meets the village elders to find out what the future holds for them and their forest.
First of all, I want to say thank you very much for us being able to be here in this fantastic forest land of yours. It has been a great honor. You own a huge area of valuable land. You could sell your land, you could sell your trees. What do you want to happen? What's the way forward? Yeah, well, you know, you're sort of stuck because you want certain things. You want to pay for education and healthcare and soap and things. Yes. But you don't have the means of earning the cash. How many children die here?
At Jane's clinic, the concerned mother has brought in her feverish child.
We need to be sponging this baby down. And I'm going to test the baby for malaria, but it probably is malaria.
It's one of the biggest killers in the tropics. Out here, mosquito nets are virtually non-existent.
Can you see that there's 2 lines here?
Jane's test confirms her worst fears.
He is particularly vulnerable now. He has a raging fever, and he has the worst type of malaria strain. This is today's dose. Okay, as soon as possible. Although the baby is getting quite upset with this is absolutely the best thing. This will potentially save his life, and without this, there's a very high chance that he will die.
There he is. This is a dwarf kingfisher. You can see just how small he is.
George is back at work with the other scientists.
Look at that, it's really fast.
Their work is vital if they are to prove this jungle is worth saving.
We've got foot exclusion.
Alana Maltby's the bat expert. She's made another important find.
This is the second potential new species of bat.
Amazing.
Yeah, it really is amazing. It's really unusual to find new mammals and new bats. And to have two potential new species in the course of a couple of weeks, that's like nothing I've ever found before.
The frogman has been kept busy too.
And you can spend the whole day trying to catch one of these things.
But this is yet another frog which Alan Allison has never seen before.
It's an interesting little guy because I'm almost certain that it's a new species.
This is exactly why I'm here. We're seeing animals in 100 years' time might not even be here.
We do. You can see it. It will struggle.
The scientists will report their findings to the government of Papua New Guinea to lend support in protecting Mount Bosavi's weird and wonderful wildlife.
This is amazing. This is a really strange world. Here is a beetle larva. Over there we have a tiny bat. So here is an animal with a backbone that is a fraction the size of this. Alana,
Yes.
can I just compare the size of that bat to the size of this insect?
Which one do you think is more beautiful, George?
I have to confess, Alana, on this occasion, the bat does win it. Hands down. Even I couldn't really love this thing.
Oh.
It's dusk in the village. Tomorrow, Gordon will set off in search of birds of paradise. But tonight, the village elders have allowed him to see their headdresses.
Oh, nice fire.
Yeah. So this is from the Ragia, the bird of paradise.
Yeah. Oh, you are correct. Some are again.
Yeah, see, I know. I know what I'm talking about. Okay. So having a personal dresser. So do we use these headdresses for ceremonies?
For ceremonies,
yes.
Okay. Oh, here.
This is quite unexpected. A lot of the early collections of birds of paradise and other bird species that are found in Papua New Guinea came from headdresses which were sort of taken by explorers and brought back to the West. And in those early days, when they saw feathers like those, ornithologists just thought that it was fakery, that it couldn't be a bird that had such spectacular feathers. What's going down? Spectacular headdresses, birds of paradise, cockatoos, hornbill. If you think these costumes are elaborate, they are nothing compared to the birds themselves. This is a sort of an imitation of their splendour.
Deep into the mountain, rescue from outside is next to impossible.
The water here is very fast flowing and deep. That's why we're wearing life jackets, is that really we're spending a lot of time in the water, trying not to get too cold, and really just battling against the flow. Bruce has put in these lines so he can traverse across safely. Oh, it's pretty fast through here, Moose. Don't want to get swept away there, do you? What do you think? Oh!
Forcing themselves against the flow, the team press on into the darkness.
The one saving grace we have is that birds of paradise are very vocal. We want to try and see them displaying, which will give us an indication that they are in this area and they are breeding. I'm hoping that we can hear those sounds and zone in on them and find the birds based on their calls.
If
managed to get that over, but if you fell in there with a backpack on, you'd be a goner.
Yeah, stay together, yeah.
In Guinea, the only respite from the deafening river is to enter one of its many side caverns.
Well, this is nothing like any other cave that we've seen so far in Guinea. It's quiet, relatively dry.
Yeah, we can talk to each other
Yeah.
without shouting.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at these styles, they're fantastic.
Check this out here, Steve. So this formation, you've got a column that's formed where a stalactite has met a stalagmite. This is deposited on a mud floor. But can you see how it's all fractured and broken there? That's almost certainly as a result of earth movement, earthquakes.
What do you think it'd be like down here?
Oh, it'd be terrifying. Yeah, it really would be terrifying.
Practically every life form that lives in this rainforest depends on the forest. So you lose the forest, you lose the animals just like that. It's a very, very simple equation. You can't have one without the other. And that's the terrible thing about deforestation. You're not just losing the trees, you're losing this habitat and everything that depends on it.
In the lab, the scientists are finding yet more evidence of the richness of this forest. Satellite images reveal just how rapidly jungle is disappearing.
This is the scariest series of images I think I've ever seen. This is pristine rainforest that has existed in this area for 10,000 years. 16 years ago, it looked like that. Virtually untouched. And the most up-to-date image shows the roads for forestry vehicles which are coming in to extract the wood, now spreading like veins all over the forest. And this is only 20 miles from here.
This makes the mission to explore Basavis forests all the more urgent.
I think the thing that's really striking about this is the incredible diversity. So every time you turn a corner, you see a new insect, you see a new frog, you see a new beetle, you see, and that's the fun of it.
Truly, this is the land of the unexpected. On the eastern slopes of Mount Basavi, Gordon is still tracking birds. When he discovers a river,
best example of the power of water and the unseen goings-on, things that are going on way beneath our feet.
haul himself and all his kit up into the canopy.
Few people have ever seen a bird of paradise, let alone, sat up in a treetop with them. So they're...
In Guinea, it's not long before the caver's efforts pay off.
Hey, just found a lead.
What, new passage?
Yeah, new passage.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I know, I'll tell you. If you look down there, you can see the river.
Oh my God, it's proper river.
Yeah, no one's been down there ever. We're the first people here.
There's a waterfall down there.
Come on, without further ado.
This new passage is drawing them down a side channel of the main river.
Oh, so big.
It's steep and it's getting narrower, but it could be a new way out of the mountain. In his treetop, Gordon is in position. They're trying to show who's the fittest with a complicated dance routine.
It almost looks as if the males are showing off to each other. Okay, there must be a female around.
Until a female turns up, these males can't afford to stop their display. And Gordon can't afford to take his eyes off them.
huge volume of water pushing through here. It's a good job the ground's grippy.
In the cave, the route they've found is getting treacherous.
You're best standing on the ledge, that's it.
This is no place to lose your grip.
Oh, look at that!
I'm going to cross here.
Okay. This is extraordinary! This is going to be one of the most exciting things I've ever done. Every single step we take is new. No one's ever seen any of this.
Finding and exploring a brand new underground route is the ultimate thrill for any caver.
Oh, it's a waterfall. We're in the top of a waterfall. You can hear the noise of it. It's like a 747 taking off.
The passage goes up in that direction, so we've got some more exploring to do.
That's fantastic.
To descend any further, they'll need climbing equipment.
The guys have kindly said I can go first, so I'm going to head down, see what we can find down there. See you in the bottom, mate. Heading down there now. It's the unknown. Go, 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 go.
That is the biggest scorpion I've seen yet here.
In the jungle, George is out collecting.
Come on, we want something nice.
The base camp phase of the expedition is nearing an end, but the forest is still delivering surprises.
It's a little tiny frog, just sitting on that leaf. I think we should collect that for Alan, our frog expert. Tree frog, they're very sort of adhesive little feet. And
indeed, it is a tree frog.
Oh,
this is an interesting one. This is a great one. Wow,
Yes.
the first one we found here. We have not found this yet. It could either be a new species or on its way to being a new species.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Across the lab, photographer Ula has set up a time-lapse studio.
Oh no! I don't like the look of this at all. This is the way on. Well, possibly. The water seems to have levelled out a little bit, and it goes underneath a narrow ceiling here. But it looks like there might be more beyond it. What do you reckon, Moose?
I reckon it's a duck of about 4 or 5 metres.
You know, this is about the worst thing you could do, is to go into the unknown in fast-flowing water, because you get whisked away, yeah?
Only Steve and Moose will press on into the unknown. The rest of the team can only wait. In the treetop, Gordon's 2 male Ragiar.
Oh Lord! This goes on forever!
Steve and Moose have been alone inside the flooded cave for 15 minutes. The river's deep and the ceiling is getting lower.
It's not as hectic as it was the other side. It's still running quite fast.
Then the river disappears into an airless chamber.
As far as exploration in this part of the cave's concerned, this is the end of the line. Don't want to get washed into a watery grave down there, so let's not go any further.
There's no way the cavers can go on.
There's nothing more here for us. Let's head out. You know, we've reached the end. That's what we came here to do. We've actually found the end of this piece of passage, and now I think it's time to head home.
Never seen a moth like this before in my life. Don't fly off, please don't fly off. I'm sure a stage will be covered. It's to rear them up, which is exactly what we did. My wife has her birthday today, and I'm not there. And if these turn out to be new species, I will name them after her. I really hope they are new species.
In base camp, Steve is preparing for the next challenge of the expedition. The team's new destination is the volcanic crater of Mount Busavi. Its fortress walls have kept the hunters out and animals in. This cauldron could conceal spectacular new species.
Steve, look at that.
I've got to
there
say,
it is, Mount Busavi.
Yeah, it's so much like something you'd expect to see in a geography textbook.
So this whole volcano is 1 million years old, but the last time it blew up was 200,000 years ago.
Yes, yeah, that sounds about right. So potentially, you know, everything that's in there has been trapped in there for 200,000 years.
So the great thing is, of course, is that also, if there is any hunting, it tends to be done on the low-lying part. Who is going to climb up into the crater to hunt stuff when you don't have to?
No.
So this whole area is going to be really
very exciting.
on spot and very exciting.
You talk about lost worlds. Well, this is just
It's
doesn't
amazing,
get any better than this.
It is amazing.
Steve is leading the advance party, paving the way for the rest of the team.
All right, guys, well, good luck. Okay.
They're going to build a camp right in the heart of the crater. The survey of the animals around base camp is now complete, and it's time to move on. He catalogued hundreds of animals. A staggering 29 are believed to be completely new to science.
Yeah, the trip's been really great. We were able to get a lot of birds in the nets, a lot of bats as well, working with Alana. We have well over 90 species between us, and I haven't even made the final total. It will probably be even more than that.
The next destination is beyond the clouds. The ancient crater inside Mount Busavi itself. They'll be the first scientists ever to explore this lost world.
This is the crater rim we're about to cross now, and that is the crater. I didn't prepare myself for the size of it. All the plants that are in here have been trapped inside by all of these walls. It's almost like the inside of the crater is kind of like an island. We can find something really, really spectacular inside here. I guess that's the hope.
Next time, George witnesses the birth of a new mountain.
To be absolutely honest with you, I'm actually feeling quite apprehensive. You couldn't speed away from this in a hurry. You'd be toast.
In Busavi's crater, the team find kangaroos that live in trees.
The fact that this animal just wandered straight past us means the wildlife here has never been hunted before. It hasn't seen people before.
And the most significant discovery of all, a new species of mammal.
Up here, have a look at this. Oh, gosh.